Alright, so this is just gonna be a Gnosia tier list that I want to make, especially since I saw a lot of people making tier lists of their favorite characters. I will say it's not an official criteria, rating, whatever. I might change my opinion depending on the time of day, but this is just how I feel right now. And mainly it's just me talking about how they feel in gameplay and how much I like their story. Alright, so first off, is Gina. She's cool, don't get me wrong. She does have like cool elements to her. It's just I don't know, some parts of her is just like, okay. Like she's fine with murder, but lying is where she draws the line, which, you know, at least you know that she's not gonna lie to you. She's given a chance. It's just you know what? You know what? But she does have enough cool moments to justify it. And her gameplay wise, she isn't really that good, but she's pretty normal, if anything. I like Gina. She's not particularly like good in like a discussion. She does have good intuition depending on what happens in the game. It's just, mm, I don't know where to put her. Okay, she's a special case though. Her story more than makes up for her gameplay, or at least dealing with her in game. If you have her as a no show on your team, bless your heart, you're probably gonna lose. But hey, can't have everything easy in life. So I'll put her in pretty cool. I might bump her down. It depends on time of day. SQ, her lesbian girlfriend, goes in favorites. When I say this, SQ was born to be a no-show. Like wholeheartedly, she was born for the chaos of being a no-show. She is a pathological liar whose path only leads with lying. I don't know when she's telling the truth about being a liar or if she's lying about being a truther. You just never know with SQ. And that's perfectly fine. That's kind of the best part about SQ. You never know which SQ you're going to get. Story wise, however, she's has a very, how do I say, important connection with multiple characters in the game and with herself too. And her story, I honestly do believe is one of the better ones out of all the characters. And honestly brought a little tear to my eye. Gameplay wise, yeah, she sucks. I'm not saying that she sucks as in she's a bad person or, well, she can be a bad person. It's just, you never really know which Esky you're gonna get. And usually that always works in SQ's favor. If she is the house, she'll always win. Let's just say that. Next up, we have one of my favorites. I honestly want to put Raqio in Cold Sleep. There, the joke would just write itself, but honestly, Raqio in recent memory has wormed their way up to being one of my favorites. Just by their it's gonna sound mean when I say this, but just by their asshole tendencies, they grown on me. Alright. They're the kind of person to win a game, proceed to monologue about winning, and then somehow manage to lose in comedic fashion. Like, it's I'm convinced that Raqio has some kind of karmic imbalance that causes them to lose in the most obscure ways possible. Even when they're right, they get sent to cold sleep. Even when they're wrong, they still lose. Which very rarely is Raqio completely wrong, unless they have to go off of intuition. But logic alone, Raqio is one of the strongest characters. Story wise, they contribute to the story. I wouldn't say they're a major focal point, but they do provide a lot of information, which makes sense. and they're one of the very few characters that forces the player to think about certain interactions and possibilities. So I'll give Raqio that. And gameplay wise, I'm already hearing the cold sleep. It's just inevitable for them. Alright, next up, Stella. Just like Gina, they're both victims. I don't know how to say it any nicer than that. Bless her heart. The amount of times this sweet angel goes to me for a collaboration when I'm in Gnosia, it's pretty unfortunate. Story-wise, I'm gonna be real, she doesn't have a complex story. In fact, I won't even say she has a good story. I just like Stella. Alright? What? I have favorites. I play favoritism. I don't want to spoil it too much, but she does have an alternate side to her and everything. And let me just tell you this. If you're not sure about how good she is, don't go to a flower room with her by yourself, okay? Don't sit down and look at the flowers because you're going to get ending worse than Mice and Men. If you know, you know. Yeah, gameplay wise, she's just a victim. That and once again, she doesn't have weak stats. It's just she is one of those kind of characters that gets picked off and gets picked on. She can do really well, and when she makes it to the later stages of the game, she is a really solid fruit. She's a decent Gnosia. And other roles, she's just decent to below decent, depending. Also, I forgot to mention, Raqio is one of the stronger characters the longer the game goes on. The longer Raqio is alive, the better they perform. It's just, they don't make it past day 1 or day 2 in discussions. Let's just say that. Shigemichi, bless his heart. He is by far the worst character in a game, gameplay-wise. I don't even think he has that bad of attributes. It's just, his combination of attributes just makes him terrible. He gets seen through whenever he lies. Even when he tells the truth, he gets put to cold sleep. He's a comedic factor, and I love him for it. The amount of times I've seen Shigemichi lose in bizarre ways is infathomable. He just finds ways to fail. And I say this with a smile on my face, he is a specialist in failure. But bless his heart, he is one of the funniest characters in the game. And one of my personal goobers. I would put him as a favorite, but I'm gonna be honest, that I don't. But then again, big naturals. We'll put him under pretty cool, but we'll have him up on the top for right now. Further deliberation is needed. Chipie. Yeah. I don't hate Chipie for wanting to become a cat. Alright? I honestly think that's the best part about Chipie. It's just my only problem with Chipie is that's the only part of Chipie. Like, like I would be pretty cool if Chipie had more events and had more to him. He is the blandest character out of everyone, with the most interesting aspiration, and honestly, the most interesting goal. And it's honestly pretty understandable. You want to become a cat? Honestly, kick ass. It's just the devs wrote a character with an interesting idea and then just proceeded to do nothing with them. There is some potential. You could have like a background story about him talking about the experiences that made him want to become a cat. or something that he saw in a movie or something. I don't know. It's just there's just so little to Chipie as a character other than he wants to become a cat that there is. And he is a cool guy. He is a chill guy, but you know, he never talks about why he's a chill guy. You know, maybe he had like a cat sensei or something. I don't know. It's like you could just make something up. Chipie is such a bland character that is literally a nothing burger. Which honestly, I feel the writers kind of failed him or forgot about him at the very least. And the crazy thing is, like, this is Chipie in game. In anime, I would put him in pretty cool because seeing him interact with the crew and talk, way different from just seeing him in game. And I feel that he is cooler in the anime than he is in game. Literally nothing burger. His playstyle is mid. okay, I'm gonna be honest. Let me just get this off my chest. His story is mid. His gameplay is mid. His drip is mid. Like, even his fuck ass yee ass haircut is mid, dude. Like what is that? What is that? Come on, man. That being said, most interesting thing about Chipie is the fandom's interpretation of Chipie. Shoutouts to Butch Lesbian Chipie. I will pay money to see that. Next up, bless this boy's heart. Remnan. He's a victim. And if you know, you know. This man, if you set this man down in a room with Peter Parker, Mark Grayson, and Guts from Berserk, and they all told their stories, each of them would reach their hand out to Remnan and tell him it's okay to cry. And more power to him for continuing on living after everything that he's been through. His story genuinely is one of the sadder stories I've seen in fiction, especially if you understand and read behind the subtext. And he gets no breaks in the game as well. He has some of the most traumatic events I've seen happen to him. And even the creators of the series and even the anime makers spare no quarter to this man. Just the amount of bullshit this man has to go through, even from the own writers. I think he is this universe's Peter Parker or some kind of descendant. There's no other explanation. Now, gameplay-wise, Remnan is relatively ignorable, which is mainly his identity. He just doesn't want to be focused on, and don't get it twisted. He isn't necessarily weak. It's just he prefers to just stay out of the action for a bit, and then he'll speak up maybe day 3, day 4. He does better the longer the game goes on, like Raqio, but for just different reasons. It's just he doesn't like speaking in front of large crowds. That's the best way I can explain it. I wouldn't say he's particularly strong as a Gnosia or as a crew. I feel he can do relatively well on both. I would say he's a B kind of character overall, gameplay-wise. He isn't particularly strong, but he isn't a fraud in any shape or form. But then we gotta talk about my second favorite goober. And Comet is, let me just say, she is a special one. Story-wise, she has a pretty interesting story, and I do like her personality. In a room full of, like, insane people, she is also insane. I kind of wish there was more interactions between Comet and Shigemichi, just to see how they'll play off each other when they try to share a single brain cell, only to find out there's none between them. But hey, you can wish, and maybe someone would make fan fiction out there. The man can dream. That being said, her gameplay. Okay, let me just say this. Yeah, Comet is just naturally funny, and yeah, gameplay wise, she is an all or nothing character, but her only issue is she has nothing going on in her head. There is no thoughts, only intuition. If she sees someone lying, she will latch onto that person and hound them for all eternity. The only issue with that is she makes herself a pretty obvious target. And even when she doesn't, and she does have one of the best intuitions in the game, by the way. Pure vibes, pure just chilling, just, oh, yeah, whatever happens, happens. And then she just spots someone lying, she'll just be like, oh yeah, he's lying. She's lying. They're lying. And everyone's just gonna be like, can you please stop talking, Comet? And she's like, why? They're lying. And it's just, you know, and because of that, she does get sent to gold sleep a lot. Or gets taken out during the nights. But I don't think Comet would happen any other way. Jonas goes in bleh. I don't want to talk about Jonas. I don't like Jonas. I mean, let me just be honest. Jonas is one of my least favorite characters. He is a washed up goat. He is a shadow of his former self. And the characters have mentioned in passing how great he used to be. Long story short, he's not as good as he probably once was. That being said, it's kind of sad when you read into Jonas a little bit. Like, you don't need to have things explicitly explained to understand that Jonas is a lonely man that was a hero and that has no more journey. And he never matured past being a hero into being a mentor, a leader, or anyone that really provides significance for humanity. He's on an endless journey with no path. He's just wandering through space, waiting to die. And honestly, kind of depressing when you think about it, but it's not like as if he just could have just stopped and just been like, man, I should try to find something to do, or I should just, I don't know, stop flying through space and just settle down. That's all I'm saying. Gameplay wise, yeah, if he's on your team, he's gonna lose. He's gonna throw the game. If he's on the other team, he's gonna throw the game. I can't explain it any better than you just have to hope that Jonas is not on your side. He's very unpredictable and to a degree irrational because of his insanity. Speaking of his insanity, I don't have a problem with insane characters. It's just I just don't like Jonas, mainly because there's nothing to him besides his insanity. If you take off the mask underneath Jonas, what should be there, at least me from my personal opinion, I think the writer should have had him be a sad, broken man. But in game, we never really get to see that beyond that. We never really see him characterized, and we rarely ever get glimpses of him being like the former hero, or he tries to be, and he's mainly just cleaning up his own messes and then pretending he's a hero. But I guess that does make sense. And he just doesn't rub me the right way. Let me just say that. Better characters that I like a lot more. My favorite beluga, Otome. And I said favorite beluga, but she's not one of my favorites. Mainly because there's a few more characters that would just win out. That being said, Otome is a master of defense. If you try to throw any suspicion on this little beluga, she is going to cry. And it's very effective. Tears from an ocean animal is the purest form of sadness. And I learned that firsthand whenever I tried to suss her out. It just doesn't work. It just does not work. And I enjoy her for this. Because when she is on my team, I'm talking about gameplay wise now. She can soak up so much pressure and not get voted out. It's very effective too. And the fact is, she is one of the stronger characters when it comes to just generating like love and being well liked by the crew. That if she doesn't get definite enemy, good luck on voting her out. And just because of that, I really do feel like she is one of the strongest characters for Bug or Gnosia. Not necessarily like S tier, but a respectable A tier. However, as a crew, I do feel like she is a weaker crew. She can contribute to discussion. It's just that she isn't really good at taking people out. Uh, Story wise, however, she does have a pretty interesting story. It's just not the best. I'm not trying to say like her story's irrelevant. I just say, there could be something else. I do respect it though, and I do find parts of it interesting. I. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Sha-ming could be a favorite. It really does depend on if he's on my team. But Sha-ming can also go below Chipie, depending on how he acts, especially next to Setsu. And we can see what they do to him depending on the time of day. The best place I can put him is not quite my tempo. I know, diplomatic, yeah. It's being a fence sitter, but he is, in my opinion, the most polarizing character in the entire game. If you ask people their opinion on him, they'll say, I hate him, or they say, oh yeah, he's one of my favorites. It really does depend on who you ask. He's a love or hate kind of character, and I feel that is intentional. I do feel like Sha-ming is one of the best written characters in the game, if not to a degree the best written. And I don't like the ending he got, but I can understand why he got that ending. There's reasons for it, but I don't want to spoil it too much. And I would talk about his gameplay, but it slipped my mind. And then we have the creature. Yeah, yeah. She knows what she's done. Alright? She is the definition of evil. But one of the greatest allies you can ever have. Her contribution to the story is very important, but let's just say the event she's a part of is unforgivable. Alright? That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. Yeah, you already know where I'm gonna put her. I don't want to do it, but I already know. Yuriko is a very unique character. Very few times in gaming do I come across a character that's one, challenged me as the player, and two, keeps me on my toes even if I have a great advantage over them. The amount of times I get played by this woman. Now, I'm not about to pretend like I'm the best no-show player of all time. It's just that I get cooked by her. Sometimes due to my own faults, to a degree. I do admit, I do set myself up a lot of times. But I still find it interesting how she can take advantage of my mistakes, and very rarely do I come across opponents that are NPCs in video games that do that, and it feels legitimate. Losing to Yuriko, at least towards the mid to late game, feels fair. Because you know the rules when engaging Yuriko. You know you're not supposed to engage her directly. You know you're not supposed to fight her outright. You know you're not supposed to get in a shouting match with her. You know that if she attacks you, you just gotta do whatever you gotta do to survive. You gotta play defensive. And losing to Yuriko is essentially a skill check. And I'm not going to say that, oh, if you lose to Yuriko, you're bad at the game, because one of my most seen videos is me losing to Yuriko. So let me just sink that in. But story-wise, I love her personality. I genuinely do enjoy characters like Yuriko. In fact, she is one of the best ore farmers I've seen in the last 5 years. Generational ore farmer, and it's a shame that we may not see more of her farming tendencies in the future. In fact, she is one of the very few characters I've seen in video game history that not only ore farms, but even steals the main character's aura. I had my aura stolen from me through my screen, and it was one of the saddest days I've ever had. Alright. But in all seriousness, she is my second favorite character in the game. And number one, Yuriko, step aside. Come on. Yeah, she did not like that, I guess. Setsu, they're one of my favorite characters in all games. Very few times do I come across a supporting character like Setsu. Because typically you'll have a supporting character that's directly next to the main character, like Setsu. Like Stella. That's very supportive, very nice, kind, and all that. And don't get me wrong, I love nice and kind people. It's just that Setsu does this, but it feels... How do I say this? Genuine. Setsu's affection for the player is one, yeah, based on circumstance, but also built up over time with genuine trust. While Stella, I feel, especially if you're playing as a male player, is more of just she sees you as a potential savior. Less that she likes you for who you are, but more about what you can be to her. If that makes any sense. Which is why I like Setsu so much. Because not only do they challenge the player, but they also support the player throughout the entire game, and it feels genuine. It's a genuine trust you build. And even at times when it's disadvantageous for them to side with you, they will. And honestly, I would side with Setsu as well if push came to shove and I needed to do that. That is just a genuine level of trust. And even though they say to just play to what we need to and do our roles, there are times when we just say, screw our roles, let's get the job done, let's figure out this loop. Gameplay wise, however, Setsu is the second strongest character in the cast, only beat by Yuriko. And let me just say this, seeing those two go at it it's like World War III in a lot. Well, for them probably World War VII in a lobby. I don't know how. If those two go at each other, one of them is getting sensical sleep. I can guarantee you that right away. These two cannot coexist. Not because they're just naturally born enemies. Because I'm gonna be honest, I feel like I'm Yuriko's natural enemy, but she knows why I'm her natural enemy, and I know why, but I'm not gonna spoil you. Play the game, you'll find out. Even though they'll also, like, I'm gonna be real, just a little bit of understanding. I don't believe a single statistic that comes out about Yuriko hating everyone equally. I genuinely think she has it out for me, but that's just me. However, they are both really, really strong. Just because Yuriko is around, do not underestimate Setsu. Typically, Setsu isn't going to have it out for the player, but if push comes to shove and you're all both against each other, be on your toes. Don't ever underestimate Setsu. I'll tell you that for sure. Alright. And this is my tier list. I am sorry for all the 10 people that love Chipie, but he's not that good. Alright? He has an interesting story. He has an interesting concept. I just don't feel like the writers cared enough for him. You know? They just said, alright, let's make this dude that wants to become a cat, and then give him some mid-ass drip, a mid-ass haircut, some yee-ass gloves. And I'm gonna be honest, the cat is probably cooler than him. That's all I'm gonna say. I hope the best for Chippy, though.